Are we live in 5 by 5? You guys all have to bear with us. We're having a few technical difficulties here, but we're trying to figure it out. All right, all for his kingdom. Thank you. We got a 5 by 5. Thank you for coming out to watch us tonight, all for his kingdom. That's so sweet of you. This is our first live broadcast from the Liberty Cowgirl Network. We want to welcome everybody to the show. Hopefully Cowgirl D will be joining us here in a few minutes. We have a few sound issues tonight. As we all know in the broadcasting world, anything and everything will go wrong right before you hit that go live key. So we're getting it all figured out tonight. We're going to just get into it tonight. I think, we don't really have a written script tonight. Two reasons. One, because I'm in charge of tech tonight and I knew there were going to be problems. And two, we have the biggest day of everyone's life happening for this country tomorrow. And so we wanted to get on here and impress tonight. And of course, we'll be covering all the events as they transpire through this next 72 hours. Everyone is to stay in prayer, but the most important message that we want to get out to everyone tonight is that although it's very upsetting for a lot of us to go cast our vote because we know what's going on behind the scenes. Hi, Jen. How are you tonight, sweetheart? Thank you all for his kingdom. I'm feeling much, much better. It was 2 weeks, but, I'm feeling a lot better, and I think I weathered the storm. All with the help of all of my dear friends, their prayers, and, of course, our dear Lord Jesus got me through it, and I'm just thankful to the Lord for that. So thank you very much for that. But while we get things rolling here, I will, give out a little bit of information. We are going to have our sound off, which we'll host in our Liberty Lounge. Lounges popping up everywhere. You get a lounge, you get a lounge, you get a lounge. Gotta love it. But we'll be coming to you live from the Liberty Cowgirl Network. This will be our first broadcast from that. We will be covering events as they happen with the big, and we're going to call it the contest, because we know that, being on the tube, there are so many words that we're unable to use right now. So we're going to do our best to navigate through that. And what we'll be using is the word contest when we talk about the big event that's happening tomorrow. But everyone must get out and go and put their entry in for that contest. That's the most important thing you can do. Now, there are those that's going to say, oh, Liberty, but the machines are compromised. We have all of this. There's things that, from the past that haven't been proven and coming out already, hasn't been verified. Regardless of everything that's happening in the backgrounds, America, it is imperative that everybody get out in person to go put your entry in for that contest, because what we don't want is we don't want to be part of the reason why inevitably things would fail. So let's take that excuse out of it, and just everyone, if you've never been to the polls, this is the time to do it. This is the time to make certain that you go. Let this country know how you feel, regardless of how it pans out in the end. And we're going to talk about a few of those scenarios, but it's important that you as an individual take that action. So I'm going to be doing that in the morning myself. I had to look up where I could go in person, and trust me, I'll be up late tonight with a periodical about this thick, reading up on a few of the items that are out there to be voted on that I'm uncertain of, and I'll be ready for when I walk in there. And we all want to keep a vigilant eye as we're at the polls. There's been lots of reports that said the best thing that we could do as individuals is if we are there and we're putting in our entry, so to speak. If you see anything unusual, or if your entry is being submitted and you've got something to question about somebody who might be handling it, uh, don't argue with them. Either call over a supervisor. If you can't get any resolve there, they're actually advising people on the spot to contact your local sheriff and have him come over and resolve the dispute so that it's in writing. So, just these things to keep an eye out as you go over to your polling place. Of course, we're going to see a lot of people who, and concerned citizens, I'll phrase it that way, um, that are going to be watching these areas to make sure that there's no nefarious actions going on. But make no mistake about it, and we're going to talk about this a little more as we give. Oh, here's Cowgirl D. Pardon me for one moment. Let's see if we can get her.
Hi guys, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
We got a 555.
I hear you.
I cannot hear you. Still, no sound.
Really?
I can't believe all night. Cowgirl D is soundless when I need to.
It happens. Can you guys hear me out there?
I cannot for the life of me figure out what's going on. I even restarted my StreamYard just to make sure that it wasn't on my end. And I've checked everything that I can check on my end. So, offer his kingdom saying we have a little echo, so let me try to fix that. I'm certain I can fix that.
I wanted to see if I could hear me on the show.
Bear with me, everyone. I'm in control. All on my
Oh, they can hear me. She just can't hear me. I can hear me on the show. Oh, that's weird. That's weird.
Bye chat.
Yeah, I can hear me on online. So, but we can't do a show like this, you guys. Oh my gosh.
Without an echo. Do we still have an echo?
Yeah.
So you can still hear me, Niana?
Yep. I can hear you. No more
For
echo.
the life of me, I do not.
Because I had my phone.
Can I get your sound?
There was an echo because of my phone. Echo was because of my phone. That's why
I've dropped a link. Why don't you try to come in from your? Oh, you did come in from your phone.
Okay, I'll try again.
Somebody in Soundland don't want Cowgirl D to come in tonight. She's got to be heard because she's got some great updates for us on what's been happening down in Humboldt County, and I can tell you and assure you it's been a lot. So while we wait for her to come back, we'll continue on with the big contest tomorrow. So we'll be keeping our eye on everything that's going on there, and make no mistake, we're all aware that in key states around this country, we have the demon rat against the rhino. And so what they're asking us, in essence, is we've got corrupt and more corrupt, so vote for one of them and you're still going to end up with corrupt. For all intents and purposes, that's exactly what's going to happen. But there's nothing we can do about that. The most important thing, again, is regardless what's going to happen on the back side, important uh, uh, for everyone to go and put in their entry into the big contest. Anyway, we've got to just put everything else out of your mind and just concentrate on that.
Well, can you
Tiana,
hear me now? Yeah, can
sound
you hear
check.
me now? Can you hear me now? They
Is
can
the
hear
sound
me.
turned up on your device?
No, it's
Do
you.
you
It's
have the
her.
sound up on your device?
Yeah, my
I
sound
cannot
is
hear you,
up.
hon.
Yeah, it's not me, it's you because they can hear me out there. Okay, I'm gonna let her do her thing. I'll let you do your show, babe. Bye.
Well, we promise you we'll get that straight. But otherwise, we have a 5 by 5. We'll get it figured out throughout the course of the show, and she'll be back with us. Um, so that's what I have to say on that, Mark. On a personal note, I want to, in the example that I was just giving about ending up with a purpose, let me just give you a prime example of that. We have Sisolak in Nevada running against Lombardo in Nevada for governor, and everyone and every person who's going to cast their vote tonight has a full understanding that you're dealing with two wings of the same bird, however that saying goes. So, these are just things that are happening now. What can we expect and what can we hope is taking place? What we hope is taking place is that all of this is being documented, as if enough hasn't already been documented with the previous one. uh, the big contest that everyone's still upset over, that we know also is not correct, and we're still waiting for that to pan out. But these are the cards that we've been dealt. This is where we're at in history. This is what history calls for us to do as individuals right now, this call to action. And I implore everyone to get out in person tomorrow to your local place and put in your vote, because that's the only way anything's going to change in this country, uh, is if that happens. And of course, if everything is clean. Now, that's just the normal way of looking at things in current events as to what's going on right now. Let's take out our famous second scope that we're looking under. There are those that say they don't even know at the 11th hour something could happen, and this could be postponed for 30 days plus. There's many scenarios going on out there. There are those that are saying that they're going to let the whole thing play out while they further document so that they can further take others into custody who are complicit uh, in their efforts to aid in this crime, because that's what it is, that we're all about to happen in see happen in real time. And speaking of real time, and we're going to then get into the general report, but General McInerney has come out this week and has stated just as much. And we all know we've heard this as we've been tracking the generals in the past, that they have already pre-warned us that this was going to come about. It was important that we get out to the place, put in our uh, ticket anyway for the contest, and we aren't going to like the outcome. And I think we did a show where we warned people that that's going to be the case, and people aren't going to like the outcome because their plan is to cheat in the same way. So let's get into how they're going to cheat this. Let's just get off to what the generals and the update from them. And by the way, while I was out sick, coincidentally, a lot of them were off the air. We know that we have had a major slowdown of information in the last 3 weeks, and there's definitely reasons for that. What we're hearing now, and again, we want to give a shout out to Mr. John B. Wells, because it's his syndicated radio talk show that he has had on the air for many years, all not only across this country now, but I understand he's actually simulcasting into other countries now. But this is a gentleman who's been entrusted by these generals. He puts out his radio show, talk show, once a week. Anyone who wants to listen to it on Saturday nights can go to arcmidnight.com and find a radio station in their area and listen to this information that's coming out from these retired generals firsthand. But let's get into what General McInerney said this week. What he said is that we're definitely into unrestricted warfare by China. Uh, they definitely wanted global domination through the use of non-kinetic ways, and we've seen them. And he specifically stated three of those ways, through this bio warfare, through this cyber warfare, and through the trafficking of the fentanyl that we all know is coming across our southern borders and into cities. As a matter of fact, here locally, in my in the state of Colorado, in our local city right here, they had one of the biggest fentanyl busts so far in the history of the state. And they said if that got out on the street, it could have killed thousands of people. So this is frightening. And, this is definitely warfare, the fentanyl and the movement of it into the United States. And he's saying that's happening because it's being produced in China. The Chinese move it to Mexico, and then the Mexican, they move it from Mexico into the United States. And statistically, it's responsible for over 100,000 deaths this year. Wrap your head around that. That's an awful lot of people that have died this year due to this drug. And he likened it to more deaths than happened in World War II. Uh, this is serious, ladies and gentlemen. And hopefully, with this election and the outcome thereof, we'll be able to put a stop to all of this. But he wanted to remind everybody that the contests that were happening over in Brazil, what just happened over there, get ready to see a replay of it over here. Now, we've already seen it once. This is our second go round. So we all know what we're looking for. And what he put out there, I found quite interesting because he left his summary for the night with this and a call to action for the general public. And we're going to keep our ears open, and we're going to be watching our emails and monitoring all of our social medias for any contact that instructs us to do the following. He wants everybody to get up and broadcast when we get a notification, because these people are going to use hammer and scorecard. We know it. There's going to be a digital still of what's about to happen. We've all seen it before. Everybody saw the donkey movie. And he wants everyone to broadcast this in real time. So, with this, out today is some interesting news where they're going to catch these people real live. And how are they going to catch these people real live? Well, it just so happens that if you go to frankspeech.com and Mr. Mike Lindell, that they are going to have what they call a real-time crime desk. And what that is they're going to have cyber experts on hand, and they're going to be monitoring this in real time. So I would suffice it to say that after this, we are going to have now more real time proof and coverage of what we've all already seen happen. So be prepared for that. And if that should happen, then we'll pull up a broadcast tomorrow to cover those events. But other than that, we will definitely be on the following day to certainly give a recap of what has happened, because one of two things are going to happen. Either the algorithms, and there'll be so many people coming out that the algorithms will come out the way that they're supposed to come out, because it'll be completely impossible for them to digitally take possession of the results, or B, they will be successful in their efforts again, and the general public is not going to be happy with the outcome. So these are all scenarios that are all being thrown out as far as tomorrow is concerned. The other one was they're saying, listen, even up until the 11th hour, they're saying they might even pull off an FF, and we all know what that is. So everyone really needs to stay vigilant. This is, without a doubt, the most important thing that we could ever do at this moment in the form of taking action. And we really need to be aware of all of these things that are going on in the background, because it's not your regular contest going on here. There's a lot at stake. There's a lot going on in the background, and there's a lot of people involved in what's going on. Hi, 10 TV. Welcome, darling. Thank you for showing up tonight. Hi, Power Girl. All the girls are here to support tonight. Now, listen, ladies, I wish I knew how to give y'all that little wrench that's so important to everybody right now, but I don't know how to do that. So I'm going to have Cowgirl D show me how to do all of that and make sure that you guys get one. Okay. Gotta love it. Woo woo. So that's interesting what's going on and how it all ties together. General McInerney talking about it. This information that came out today, as far as Mike Lindell and his efforts with what's going to be going on live, and basically the spotlight that's on, on this entire thing in general. So this next 48 hours is very, very critical to the American people, especially for the millions of people who are out there and waiting to see what direction we're going in the next 48 hours, because make no mistake about that, it's definitely going to dictate some type of avenue that has to be walked down. This whole, oh, we're going to wait till the midterms, we're going to wait till the midterms. We've already gotten past all those dates. We've already gotten past, oh, remember the 5th of November. We've already gotten past all of these things. That everybody is all aware about as far as the dates are concerned. This is it. This is it. This is going to dictate where we're going and who is being played by who, because most would say that we're being played by both sides, and I have to tend to agree with them on that one. So uh, that is somewhat of what McInerney has to say. If we see anything wrong, again, report it. And above and beyond, if this whole thing goes through, we cannot, as in the past, just accept these results. Not anymore. So, we'll have to keep everybody posted as to exactly what that entails and what that means, and how we as individuals and just lay people can take action with don't accept the results. Uh, uh, because that's a real serious situation. And there are those that are out there, and it is being reported in several places, that as we speak, meetings have been called with the governors and senior leadership of each and every state across this nation. And they are being told how things are going to go down with the takeover of the military and the potential of imposing the ML. We all know what that means. I don't want to say the word, uh, uh, but basically the stay at home order uh, via the military. Uh, and they're saying that they're being briefed on that right now on an as needed basis. So anything is possible in the next 48 to 72 hours. Um, and, we're going to keep our eye on it and, see what's about to happen. But what's happening right now is that the public is engaging directly with the government. They're telling uh, elected officials, we don't believe you anymore. We don't trust you anymore. And tomorrow's going to be, they're really all going to be taken to task tomorrow. And although it makes a lot of us very, very unhappy, to include myself, that we actually have to go out there and cast our vote red for somebody we know is a rhino, it's really hard to swallow. But it must be done to prove, in my opinion, this is going to help prove this digital crime that's taking place. And hopefully it will all turn out and we'll be able to pause this. In my opinion, in most people's opinion also too, it would be for a period of 30 days till we could actually have uh, new elections within a 120-day time period. Now, whether that's going to take place now or at a later date and time later on in the month is yet to be seen. We don't have a crystal ball and a clock that tells us when these things might happen. Interestingly enough, to move on from General McInerney, we had some other retired people to come out this week that hadn't been on before. And there was a gentleman called Edward Haglund, who is a retired military officer, but even more importantly, retired from the intelligence division over at the CAI. He was a director intel analyst, and he had some real interesting things to say as far as the cognitive warfare that is going on. And we all know that there are a lot of psyops that tie into that. So, I would welcome anyone to go and listen to what he had to say in that response. And what he's meaning when he refers to that response is we've come to a crossroads now where uh, the people who are in public service thinks we're their public servants. And that's not the case. And they are going to be called to task. And we are going to have to know whether they are serving the people or serving themselves. And and the people in the groups, as an example that I'm speaking of, who are going to have to decide whether they're going to uh, keep good to their oath and work for the people or continue on the path that they've been on if they're one of the bad guys, because we all know that there's good and bad in all of these organizations. You cannot take a brush and wipe and say all police are bad, all doctors are bad, all firemen are bad, all political people are bad. Well, most of those are, but there are still a few good men in all of these organizations, is my point. So we have to be very cognizant of that. And educators, first responders, medical professionals, law enforcement people, people in the state and public employee realm, and people in our military are going to have to make a decision whether they're going to live up to their oath or not. We're at that point. So, all of the events that have been taking place have all been leading up to this point. And by the way, we all know that there's arrests taking place in the background. Who and what and how big they are, we don't know. But anyone who doesn't think that there are covert operations going on right now to actually arrest people really need, I implore them to go back to the beginning and start looking for these documents online. Go to channels who have already posted it. A plethora and wealth and treasure chest of information has been put out and posted by the general public via all of these social media platforms. Very talented creators have created great videos with histories of all of this stuff going on to help everybody get familiar with what's going on. You have to know that we are at a very advanced state at this point, and everyone individually is at a different point in this journey to finding out about this whole corrupt system that has been out there. So I highly recommend that if you're confused about a certain topic or you hear something, don't go to 99.9 and discount it. uh, do yourself a favor and at least take a couple of minutes to Google it and look and read a couple of articles by yourself, and then make your own discernment how you feel. But I can tell you, for the literally millions of people at this point that are at a very, very advanced pace because they've been on the battlefield as digital warriors or viewers, supporting people on the digital battlefield, they know at what point we're at. And we're at a very, very critical state right now. So, We've got a lot of public officials right now that are entrenching themselves, and the gig is up for them. Uh, they think they've gotten along with it this long, but the plan is far enough along. We're in a certain phase now where uh, everybody has a choice to make on what they're going to do. Now, let me get to Colonel Sellon because we're all familiar with him, and he's had a lot to say. Uh, uh, from a medical standpoint, because he's also a doctor of sorts. Uh, but he said it huge coming out this week that Finland came out with a report that confirmed that the state agencies lied about this sickness, which we all know. So, what we see is in other countries abroad, all this evidence coming about. We see what's going on in Russia with them getting ready to hold their tribunals of certain people. And I think a lot of people will be surprised that a lot of what we expect to see here in America is going to actually happen abroad because they're complicit and the other countries are more advanced, and it could be part of the plan. In prosecuting these people. And so we're seeing more and more come out in the mainstream media. We know when it comes out in the mainstream media that the dam is burst and the information is overflowing, and it's going to be coming out very, very rapidly as they start to release it. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But Colonel Sellon said, this is infiltration and invasion uh, to the highest extreme. Uh, Everyone is well aware that Potato Head and everyone around him is compromised by the big C. And I'm not talking about the sickness. I'm talking about the other country with the two CCs and then the letter P behind that. Um, so he made an interesting point from a medical perspective, and he's been talking about the scientists, and I want to make that a whole show. We have some scientists that are out of control. We've been infiltrated and we've been invaded by scientists that came over here from abroad. Okay, they were put into our universities. After they were inserted into our universities as students, they were then given jobs via government programs that allowed them to work in various research institutes. Okay. And, this is just laying out how this all came about right before our very eyes. They went to work in these research institutes. Then, by going to work for these research institutes, that allowed them to legally invite guests over, other people from the same place they came from, to join them here in their research and development. And in some cases, when some people were brought over, it was all paid for by the American people. So again, they've done something that we've all paid for, and they're using it against us. It's absolutely crazy. Uh, but that's where we're at. And he is saying that there are 17,845 Chinese intel agents in various countries across the world right now, and 76% of them are active right now as we speak on current missions and operations. These are scientists and so forth that we're talking about. So, I want to see a committee come out. Forget a committee for J6. I want to see a committee come out and let's look at the scientific world and what's been going on there. We have a lot of scientists running amok, and that's where a lot of these problems were created. And out of the 76% that are active, 63% of them are right here in the United States. So take those stats in for a minute. So, these are deep controlled agents. Uh, uh, that have come here. They've not only come here under the guise of our uh, scientific research category, but we have a lot of them that have infiltrated, and everyone in the real estate world knows this, and everyone's known this for quite some time. That's in real estate. They just turn the other way. But they set out to infiltrate the real estate in this country. They have. They were able to acquire lots of land, and that land was coincidentally by military bases. So, these are a lot of questions out there, and the American people need answers to this after this big contest is over. Uh, these are very important. These are very, very important topics, and things that we have to look at after this day is over tomorrow. Uh, and, we'll be following that as we have been, as we reported in the past, and see what's going on with that. Now, that's Colonel Sullen. Um, and I think those were the only three really notable ones this week, that we were following up on there. Now, normally we follow and we report on all of the top movers and shakers, the Cash Patels, the Dan Scavinos of the world, and, Patel Patriot, and all of those guys. And I'll be very honest with you, everybody's gotten the Dan Scavino tweets. They're all over the place. You go to the decoders, nothing's changed. They point you to the same 17th letter in the alphabet post. And, make of it what you will. We'll get down into some decodes, but one guy who I am going to start reporting on, who is out there in the public, and take it for information, but he is definitely a person that I find highly credible, and I'm going to give updates on his reporting. Now, I'm not going to show his videos, although he's given permission to air his videos on any channel at any time, with the caveat and understanding and rule that you cannot change or alter them. Because we're in such a sensitive time period here, I don't want to take it, and we're just getting out of the gate. We don't want to get any strikes. We know they're monitoring channels left and right, and we're not going to take that chance. So what we're going to do is give a verbal update on SG Anon, who a lot of people might be familiar with. And if you're not, you ought to make yourself familiar with him, because he really puts out an update that is not only highly credible, but it's done in such a calm and methodical manner that it's actually very enjoyable to listen to, and makes great sense. And so, he came out with a short one. Again, he had come out himself and said a couple of weeks ago that information would be dripping out. And that's what we've seen over the course of the last 2.5, going on 3 weeks leading up to the big contest tomorrow. But when information does start coming out, the flip side of that is it's going to come out very, very rapidly. And it's going to come out so rapidly that I'll probably get on every 3 to 4 hours, Cowgirl D and I, to give little updates here and there on what's going on, so that everyone knows what's transpiring. But again, he was also one of the people who confirmed that the governor and the state leaderships were being contacted by the military, uh, and given this need to know basis information. And also, those same meetings were supposedly being used, and they're using that under that guise, so to speak. Again, these are military operations that are being conducted. I know people want to attack people who say that, but make no mistake about it, these are absolute military operations taking place. Uh, that they're being used as a guise. And in this instance, with this meeting with the governors and the senior leadership of the states, they're also serving summons on certain individuals. So that we're going to keep an eye on that. We're going to keep an update on that. We also want to remind people, there's a lot going on, and I myself have kept track of the last I think I've seen three big Mr. T rallies in the last 3 days. It's way too much, trust me. I could almost recite that speech word for word myself, but, and here's the big caveat, it's important. They're putting out comms. They are putting out comms on this. Now, am I a decoder? No, but I'm listening for what he's saying that is new, because it is leading in certain directions. And what I've listened, and this is my own personal opinion, but my opinion is that it's not even the real big Mr. T that's been running these rallies. Because if we go back and everything we've been told, and we're supposed to believe, don't forget, we were told from the very onset that he was going to be very well insulated. And in another drop, if people want to go back and fact check this, we were also told that during this specific time period, that he would be a broad for safety. So people need to, sometimes we need to go back in order to remember what's going on right now. So just to remind people about that. So, that's what's going on and how it ties into all these rallies that have been going on. But make no mistake, there's a high level of dishonesty out there right now. We all know, even with this arrest with Miss P from San Francisco, they were saying on the back channels that's not what it seemed at all, everyone. And she was actually being rearrested. This is all over the internet. And I, for one, sign on to that theory, only because I've been tracking this for quite some time now, since 2017, and I truly hope that is the case, because if it's not, we're in big trouble, people. So let's hope for the best, and let's hope that the people that are needing to be detained are being detained or have been detained. And another piece of information we got behind the scenes is that a lot of them have scattered and they're looking for them. So, if there's strange things happening in your town around you, it could very well be because a few of these people are on the run. So, that's what's going on in that regard. Uh, and then we'll just wrap it up with what an update on. I don't really have an update, would be the update. But let's take a minute out to just acknowledge a few people in chat. Hi, John John. Thank you for coming out tonight. Thank you all for being here. Jen, Tin TV. Shout out to all his kingdom, all you wonderful, good people. Everybody, make sure to tune in and watch Tin. She's got the late night variety show on the West Coast. I watch it every chance I get. So tune in to see her. Tune in to see Bonnie. And then, of course, everybody's excited about this new program that Cowgirl Dean, I wish we didn't have the technical problems tonight, but we'll get it resolved, that she's just launched with her new prayer program. All of that stuff is so wonderful, and it's just so heartwarming just to see all the ladies come together like this, because one thing we all have to remember, there's life after this. And let's just hope that it all pans out for the good, and all of these wonderful scenarios out there are true and wonderful, and that there's this big red wave, and that everything turns out like that. I'm hoping for the best, but expecting the worst, because that's what my mom always taught me. So we'll stay optimistic. We'll stay watching things. We've got a plethora and a slew of other information that we'll save for the next show. We just wanted to get on here and at least, impress upon people for a few minutes to make sure to get their personal selves out tomorrow to put in their tickets for that contest. It's so important. And other than that, if anybody is in the chat and wants to try and get in, I think I dropped a link if you want to come up. Let me try again. Hi, Jerry Lee. No fear, exactly. There's no fear. You know what? Knowledge, when you're armed with knowledge, you don't have any fear. There's nothing to fear. because you know what's going on, and you have that, and you're walking hand in hand with the Lord Jesus Christ. That's right. It's faith over fear. It's faith over fear. And I think a lot of people are at that point right now. And one thing we know for sure is that none of us are going to get through this without prayer from our dear Jesus from above. I know I wouldn't be even be sitting here today if it wasn't for him holding my hand at a constant pace. So um, we're all entering a very interesting time. The next 72 hours are going to be highly important for this entire nation. And we'll be on Wednesday night. I don't know the exact time yet. We'll have to see when everyone else is broadcasting, because we want everyone to be able to watch all the ladies. And we'll jump on and give everybody an update on that point as to what we think might and might not be going on. But hope everybody had a good time tonight. I hope the information is useful. Please like, share, subscribe. And we've got to build this space up, because we've got a lot of wonderful things planned. We are getting ready to kick off Cowgirl Cooking with the younger generation of Cowgirls. So that's real exciting for us. They really don't, the millennials don't want anything to do with our news channels, but they definitely are into the food. So we're looking very forward to sharing some personal experiences with our own family members on cowgirl cooking, and we're going to get out with cowgirl adventures too. So those are just two fun things that we look forward to the future, as we're all riding the storm out. And of course, always go to standuphumble.news and make sure to hit the link over there and find out what's going on. Deanna has so much information posted over there at now. If everybody's keeping track, please, I think she's on Stand Up Humble 4 now. Go over there, catch the shows. There's been some real exciting things to happen. When she gets up, we'll follow up with her directly the other night, her and Power Girl and so forth, on what's transpiring over there in Humboldt County with the incident that went down last week with these shows, inappropriate shows for children. The fact that they stood up, shouted out, let their voices be heard by the Human Rights Commission, and actually were able to change the mind of some board members over there. And this is major. So shout out to them in all their efforts. Proud of you ladies. Been watching every minute of it. This is how other women across this country learn what they need to do and look out for in their own towns and in their own states. So, with that being said, thanks everybody for coming tonight. We'll close it out here. And if anything happens, we're going to be getting on during the day with Cowgirl news updates. Well, all of the action, so to speak, is going on. So, everybody, just make sure you're subscribed and hit the notifications. And I really appreciate everybody and all your support. God bless everybody. We'll see you on the next one with Cowgirl D. Good night.